Hello and very warm welcome to all of you. Today we are discussing interim budget. So we are discussing about, and we know very well what is interim budget. So today we are discuss in this lecture what is interim budget, and further we discuss about interim budget's highlight 2019-20 budgets. So first of all we discuss about what is interim budget. So we all of know the interim budget is a complete set of accounts which is included both the expenditure and receipts. Fine. And it is a full budget but made by the government during the last year of its term. So that's why it's called interim budget. So further we go to highlights of the interim budget of 2019 and 20. Before we discuss about two main points about interim budget. The interim budget is presented before the House just before the general election. Fine. Next, it cannot contain big policy proposals like a big budget and big bombard XYZ schemes or initiatives not declared or advertisement such as the big policy proposals like any big scheme not declared in this type of budget like interim budget. So fine. Now we discuss about interim budget 2019-20 highlights. So first of all we discuss about the present income tax rates to be continue, that the present income tax rate is not changed in this interim budget. So the present income tax rate is continuously unchanged and it continue be. And then full tax rebate up to income of rupees 5 lakhs for individual taxpayers and standard deduction raised to 50,000, a hike of 10,000 for salarized person or salarized class of Indian society. Okay, fine. And then second point is the 3,000 rupees pension for unrecognized sector workers earning up to 15,000 rupees through a mega pension scheme. Like this scheme announced in Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Mahandhan, ठीक, प्रधानमंत्री श्रम योगी महादान योजना declared in interim budget. It's included 3,000 rupees pension for unrecognized sector worker earning up to 15,000 rupees through a mega pension scheme. It's this pension scheme called in interim budget's name Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Mahandhan. Fine. Then the direct tax system simplified in this budget, then returned to be proceed in 24 hours with immediate refunds. Then 6,000 rupees yearly direct support to farmers through Pradhan Mantri Kisan program. One scheme, Pradhan Mantri Kisan program, was announced in this interim budget. It's included 6,000 rupees yearly direct support to farmers through this program. Fine. Then 90% GST payers can file quarterly returns. Small and medium enterprises to get 2% interest rebate on incremental loan of 1 crore rupees. A group of ministers to examine GST, goods and service tax burden on home buyers. Fine. And then customs to go for digitization of export and import transactions. Then a separate department of fisheries. That this kind of announcement is included in interim budget. The government has announced in interim budget a separate, they opened to separate department of fisheries. Then allocation of healthcare Manrega, SC/ST welfare programs, and Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, development of infrastructure in Northeast hiked subsequently. Then a program for genetic upgradation of cow is included in Rashtriya Kamdhenu Ayog. One of the best scheme or one of the best announcement we can call in interim budget, it's towards of cow. It's announced, the name in interim budget was Rashtriya Kamdhenu Ayog. Rashtriya Kamdhenu Ayog was proposed in interim budget, a program for genetic upgradation of cow. Then allocations of defense budget. That is the massive proposal, massive announcement in interim budget. That is the allocation to defense budget crossed 3 lakh crore rupees for the first time. It's a major announcement of interim budget by Mr. Piyush Goyal, Honorable Finance Minister. Then the over 3,38,000 cell companies deregistered after demonetization. The Honorable Finance Minister announced in between his speech in Lok Sabha, he announced over 3,38,000 cell companies deregistered after demonetization. Then an All India Institute of Medical Sciences are opened in Haryana. Fine. All India Institute of Medical Sciences for Haryana. It's a big announcement in interim budget. Then 10 points vision for 2030 to realize India's social economic potential and $10 trillion economy in 13 years. That is the major announcement in interim budget by the Piyush Goyal, Honorable Finance Minister. Then he announced the government e-marketplace JAM to be extended to all central public sector enterprises. Then a container cargo movement to the northeast through Brahmaputra River. An allocation for infrastructure development is the region hiked by 21%. Then 1 lakh more villages to get digital connectivity. A National Center on Artificial Intelligence Center. It is the big announcement towards in the interim budget, or we can say the Digital India is more comprehensive way to include one more phase in its chapter to announce to this announcement that the 1 lakh more villages to get digitally connected. That digital connectivity provided to 1 lakh more villages. This is the very positive or very major announcement in interim budget. Then Cinematograph Act to be tightened to check piracy. Then single window clearance for shooting films to be made available to Indian filmmakers. Then the fiscal deficit pegged at 3.4% of GDP, gross domestic product, are the highlight of the interim budget for 2019-20. The Piyush Goyal, Mr. Honorable Finance Minister Mr. Piyush Goyal has said in this budget that the fiscal deficit pegged at 3.4% of GDP, that is the very positive sign for Indian economy. So we can say the 3.4% of GDP of fiscal deficit, it's very positive sign. Then the indigenous development of semi-high speed Vande Bharat Express train. Then it's a very, that is the interim budget's major highlights. The first time we can say the interim budget was presented combinedly, finance budget with rail budget. We can say the interim budget merged with two main components, finance budget and railway budget. We all know the railway budget is merged in finance budget in 2017. So this is the first time in Indian history the interim budget 2019-20 is included major two components. That is one, finance budget, and second is railway budget. Both are merged in interim budget. So thank you for this lecture.